With just 2 events to go in Marble Invite Season 4, 2 teams have emerged as the cream of the crop here in this tournament. The Ivy League, the hosts, ever present in Quack's Marble Clash and finally trying to win a championship here in their home stadium, and the Fireworks, inaugural champions of the Bloxy Marble League, trying to give their competition a championship in its first appearance in the Marble Invites. Hello everyone, I am Ramen Powder and I'll be joined by Angus here in the commentary box for event 11, which is Collision.
And what a pleasure it is to be back in the commentary booth for this one. Of course, possibly the biggest event in Marble Invites history. Ivy League and Fireworks separated by just 8 points, with a potential first host championship in the works for the Ivy League if they can advance to the group here and see the Fireworks slow down. But of course, Grayscales, Evergreen Oaks, and Salsa Squad, they can all still win this tournament if Ivy League and Fireworks have 2 poor showings in these final 2 events. So those are your 5 teams to watch out for. But the real 2 top dogs, of course, Ivy League and Fireworks, will face each other in this event in spirit. Evergreen Oaks and Salsa Squad line up in this first group with Team Life and Time Watchers. Of course, Oaks and Squad will have to advance to have any chance of keeping their hopes alive, and here they are lining up. Salsa Squad versus Team Life. For the first round of the day, you get 2 points for winning, 1 point for getting a draw, and Salsa Squad will win this first round getting 2 points versus the Team Life, who will get 0.
Yes, I actually think Team Life did manage to hold on. Yeah, with one marble on the board, they will get 0 points in the group points though, and the Salsa Squad a big differential in the group. Now the points differential is the tiebreaker if teams are tied on group points, so that is something to watch out for. You want to have big margins of victory as well. And in the second match here, looks like Evergreen Oaks did have a couple stay on, and I only see 1 marble in the Time Watcher, so that is a win for the Evergreen Oaks. So far, the 2 outside contenders in this group off to a good start here, but can they sustain it? Remember, in the groups, 6 matches where every team plays each other once, so every team will play 3 matches each. So even winning a single match or even 2 matches might not be enough depending on how things shake out. But now Time Watchers and Team Life, and I think we have a draw here. 2 apiece on the board here on the right side, so both teams will get just 1 point in the group standings.
And that's big for the contenders. Those 2, Team Life and Time Watchers, were both lost their first match and they have 1 point on the board. So they both played 2. These 2 now, with their second match, can either of them get a big lead and put a stamp of authority on this first group. It's a big widespread for the Evergreen Oaks, but it seems to work in their favour. They have 1 fall off toward the end, and it's going to be a 2-1 win for the Salsa Squad. They will have a comfortable handle on this group, and they should be able to move on with 2 wins and whatever their third match could end up being. But Evergreen Oaks will have to dig deep to try and advance with Salsa Squad here, but Salsa Squad at the very least are keeping their hopes alive, and they'll line up again against the Time Watchers. Already have 2 wins versus Time Watchers, 1 win and a draw. I don't believe Salsa Squad can be caught by them no matter what happens, and I think they know that, as they're going to lose this match 2-1 to Time Watchers, who have had a disappointing championship defense, but have at least got something to smile about here.
Yeah, for sure, and especially in an event they haven't done before in its traditional format, they will get a win here in a position to perhaps snipe an advancement spot. The Salsa Squad should be fine no matter what. What can the Evergreen Oaks do to respond here? Coming from the right here ahead of Team Life, and 4 marbles on the board. 1 of them will dip out on the top right corner, but still with 3 on the board, and I think 3 Team Life marbles with 1 of them on the bottom left. It's going to be a draw that should play in the hands of the Evergreen Oaks. With a win and a draw here, I think they will be fine. Team Life and Time Watchers will be dipping out. And actually, it was very close based on the points for, because the points differential was also tied. Evergreen Oaks will just barely advance over the Time Watchers. So, both of their teams barely keeping their championship hopes alive, but now we get ready for the second group. The championship leaders, Ivy League, after getting another silver medal in the elimination race, they line up here with the Rosebloods. And it appears the Rosebloods have 4 marbles on the board, but 1 of the marbles will drop out on the bottom left. What could have been a critical victory for the Rosebloods and a critical loss for the Ivy League has turned into a draw. Ivy League will get 1 point still. Not in the best position to guarantee advancement, but it's a better start than losing would have been.
That's unbelievable. Rosebloods have also thrown away 2 potential points. They're down to just 1 as Team Oasis and the Killer Bees line up, and it's chaos as they knock into each other, and they all pile up in the top right corner. 2 apiece, that's going to be another draw. So, after the first matches, All teams are at square one in this group. That's playing very well for the Ivy League, who I imagine will run in the next battle as Killer Bees and Team Oasis. They draw on this one. Now, Team Oasis line up directly after their first match against the championship leaders Ivy League. That's got to be daunting, and Ivy League will keep 4 on the board compared to Team Oasis's 3, and it drops down to 2. The Ivy League will win this one 4-2 and put an early and get themselves an early lead in this group. The only lead we've seen so far in this group. Killer Bees and Rosebloods will face off next. If that ends in a draw, Ivy League should be moving on pretty comfortably here, provided they don't lose their final match. Here come Rosebloods and Killer Bees now for match 4 lined up. There's of course some chaotic formations out of these gates. Killer Bees stay nice and compact. It does not quite work in their favor early on, but it does later on. It's peeling around. Killer Bees are going to win this one.
Killer Bees with their 1 marble dancing around at the bottom, hidden from the camera, but they are there. 2 marbles for them will stay on, and they will get a victory here over the Rosebloods now. The Killer Bees also in a better position to move on here. They're a team well down towards the bottom of the standings, and they have a good match there with Team Oasis and the Rosebloods here. It looks to be a draw. I see 3 apiece for both. That's not good for teams that aren't looking good to advance here. Both of these teams really would have loved to score a win here in this group to keep pace with the Ivy League and the Killer Bees.
Yeah.
But now it looks to be that those 2 teams could be advancing both from the group here. And with the Ivy League advancing, those outside contenders, it's not looking good for them to even stay within 25 points of them heading into the final event. But how will it shake out in this final match? Looks to be 2 apiece. A draw here will seal it for both teams, and they will both advance.
And that effectively knocks out the Salsa squad. Despite their efforts in Group A, they will not be winning this tournament. They are finished. I believe Evergreen Oaks and Grayscale still have hope. They'd have to win gold in this event and hope that the Ivy League cannot make it. And the Oaks need gold to stay in contention, and the Grayscales need at least silver, is what I'm hearing now. Killer Bees will get second place comfortably ahead of the Rosebloods and Team Oasis, and now we line up for Group C. None of the big 2 in this one. We've got the Grayscales, Lilac Lightning, Galactic Empire, and the Black Roses. Of course, Lilac Lightning currently running in 6th place, hoping to finish in the top 5 in their inaugural season, and they're running decently well here. They got a 2-2 run with the Black Roses, and that's going to be how this match ends. So, again, all square. We still got 2 more teams to see in this group, though.
Yes, indeed. A great arresting of their momentum for the Lilac Lightning there at the bottom left. But Black Roses still manage to get it. Now, Grayscales and the Galactic Empire. The Grayscales, the only team in title contention, even if it's an outside shot, the only team in contention in this group here. But it looks to be a loss here to the Galactic Empire. 3 marbles of the Empire just managing to do enough to stay on. And the Grayscales need to dig deep if they want any chance of staying within contention. Oh, actually 3 Grayscales on the board. So it is a draw. The Grayscales do manage to get one. Oh, that evaded my eye. 1 marble behind the block there in the center. So the Grayscales do get a point out of this in the group. Now the Galactic Empire get back in the blocks here along with the Black Roses. The Empire are getting pelted down towards the bottom right, but they will manage to hold on. And I believe that is another draw. I see 3 marbles apiece for both teams here. So how does it shake out?
1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually 4-3, because Black Roses, again, a lot of marbles hiding behind that block that we can't see, and they're going to keep themselves in the game. Black Roses have now gone. They did that in the first match too, and it evaded my eye. They've got 2 wins in their first 2 matches. I think they're going to advance with that alone, especially if none of these teams, Grayscales and Lilac Lightning, can muster up a win. But it's going to go extremely well for Lilac Lightning. They've pelted the Grayscales here, just letting them knock themselves out of the ring, it looks like, by playing them to the sides. And the Lilac Lightning will get a 4-1 win here. Huge for their point differential as well, if they end up in a draw with somebody like the Galactic Empire, who will line up next. Grayscale is only 1 point compared to Lilac Lightning's 4. That is not good. And here are the 2 teams I just mentioned in match 5. Galactic Empire and Lilac Lightning. Of course, the Empire will want to win badly here to try and advance, and it looks like they're going to get one. 2-1 is what I can see. Lilac Lightning, I see 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of the marbles are off for the Lightning. That's going to be it. The Empire will get the win here. If it's enough to advance, it remains to be seen.
Yeah, critical victory here for the Empire. The Lilac Lightning coming into this had the differential advantage, but with the Empire winning, I'm not sure if even with that, the Lilac Lightning will have enough to advance. And now in this final match, the Grayscales not looking good once again here. Marbles falling off at the bottom right, and it's another victory here for the Black Roses, who despite never having done this event in its traditional form, they look to have been adapting very well here, late into the season, getting used to the team dynamic, and now another win for them here in the group. Perfect record for the Black Roses here. 3-0-0 for them. They will advance along with the Galactic Empire, who have just barely enough points in the groups to ahead of the Lilac Lightning. And the Fireworks will manage to stay in contention here in this final group, whether they advance or whether they don't. But of course, they'd love to advance here to be much closer to the Ivy League, especially since we don't know how far the Ivy League will go in this event. Now, starting in here in Group D, the Tree Frogs will record a win here ahead of the Paintballers. Paintballers had marbles go all over the place, so one marble will be there at the bottom, but with just one marble to 2 for the Tree Frogs, they will be at a loss.
Other two in this group, of course, the Starlights and the Fireworks. Starlights are finally trending decently in the recent events, no longer in last place, and they're going to keep that up. I believe the Starlights have kept all 5 of their marbles on the board. There's that experience, the gold medal in the Ball Network Season 6, I believe, ringing through well here, as Fireworks are going to be at an early disadvantage to the Starlights. That is disappointing and dangerous. The pressure is going to be piling on with that. One loss already to their record is by no means what they need. A 5-3 win for the Starlights. They've got the early advantage in the group here. Tree Frogs and Starlights are up next. Starlights, another win could potentially see them straight through to the knockout stages, as the Tree Frogs splay everywhere, and the Starlights again, they're going to keep 4 marbles on the board. That is another brilliant score, and I believe Tree Frogs were shut out for just 1. Starlights have put a stamp of approval in this group so far, conquering the first 2 rounds, and they should advance just from that alone with points differential and even points that they've scored. It happens to be a tie. Now, here comes a critical match. Fireworks versus the Paintballers. Fireworks will have to win this to try and keep themselves close to Ivy League, and they are not going to win it. They've been almost shut out. Paintballers 4-1 to the Fireworks. The pressure on the Fireworks is now at an all-time high. They might not make it at all here.
Yeah, it's been a close event for many of the groups here, but several blowouts here in Group D. 1-4 against the Fireworks. It might be over no matter what happens in their final match. And the Starlights here against the Paintballers. I believe the Starlights are already through no matter what happens. The Paintballers look to have 3 marbles, and even if the Starlights don't have a missing marble there, even if they lose here, they should be fine. But the Paintballers, I believe, will have recorded a win here, and yes, they will. 3-2, and that means that for sure I don't think the Fireworks have any shot here. Even if they win this match, I don't think it's going to be enough. We'll see what they can do. Can they perhaps blank the Tree Frogs and get into a position here to advance? And it looks like they will record a win here, but by differential, it will not be enough.
Yeah, that win was important. That will push them a few spots up in the standings from 9th to 16th. So it was an important win regardless, as every point's going to matter here. But with the Ivy League moving on and Fireworks not, it's now all a game of how far will the Ivy League go? How far will they extend their point difference over the Fireworks to potentially even win the tournament today? We could see the Ivy League be crowned champions today if they go as far as they have. They've already got 6 silvers under their belt. A 7th would surely do the trick, with Fireworks down in 13th place. Very disappointing. Now the gap is provisionally 5 points, so if Ivy League go as far as 2nd, it will be enough.
Yeah, so if Ivy League win the gold, they will clinch the championship. The Fireworks actually still in otherwise, but now we will get ready. Seeded based on the groups, the quarterfinals here, one and done here. If it's a tie, we will re-rack the marbles, and here the Starlights and the Galactic Empire, both teams that have gotten recent home competition collision medals, and it looks to be a draw, is it, between these two teams? I see 4 marbles of the Starlights. No, actually 1 for the Galactic Empire here. Similarly, grayscale teams, but Galactic Empire, one of those marbles, adding insult to injury, dipping out on the top right, and they are done. The Starlights' dominance continues. They will move on. Now in the second quarterfinal, the Paintballers and the Killer Bees here. Killer Bees stayed stationary very well in the center and the right, and the Paintballers also look to have 3 marbles on, so I believe this will be our first tiebreaker of the event.
And how this will work is we're going to re-rack the marbles that stayed on the board, and they're going to run back down again, but the dominoes will stay as they are, knocked over. We call it, this is the overtime of quarterfinal 2, and it looks like we've seen Killer Bees lose 1-2. It's 1-1 now. We've got a sudden death 1-1 joust here between the Paintballers and Killer Bees, unless if a marble is evading my eyes, but I think I saw, there's 1 Killer Bee, there's 2, and there goes that second Paintballer. It is going to be a 1-1 between these 2 runners, Paintballers and Killer Bees, a joust, if you will, to potentially win this quarterfinal. But if they all come off, we're going to re-rack all 5 of them. Down they come. They completely miss each other, and the paintballers fall off to the far side. If Killer Bees can stay still, and they can, they're going to move on here. A long-winded collision match here that's going to exhaust the Killer Bees for the semi-finals, but they've moved on regardless. Paintballers are out, and a 1-0 win to the Killer Bees, and they're in last place. They badly needed that.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the knockouts. We will do it as many times until we have one winner. And here, the Solstice Squad and the Ivy League, huge with 2 contenders here. Will the Ivy League get knocked out here?
My.
They have 2 marbles. The Solstice Squad have 3. And the Ivy League, the hosts, are knocked out in the quarterfinals. A critical victory here for the Solstice Squad. Not just for their tournament, but for every other team's tournament that is still in the championship fight. The Ivy League will get in the top half, but it will not be a top 4 finish. It will not be another medal for the Ivy League. And now the Evergreen Oaks, reinvigorated after they've heard the Ivy League are out, and they look to be in the lead here with 3 marbles on the board in this final quarterfinal. The Solstice Squad still in it. They did the job to knock out the Ivy League, and the Evergreen Oaks also still in it. Also, the Fireworks definitely still going to be in contention heading into the final event. And the Evergreen Oaks, just 1 marble ahead. Black Roses did have 1 marble hiding back there, but it's not going to be enough to unseat the Evergreen Oaks. They're going on to the semifinals, the Ivy League. Just 9 points here in this event with a 7th place. So we'll see what the other teams can do here in the semifinals.
We've got 2 of our bottom runners, Starlights and Killer Bees, lining up. One of these 2 is going to win at least a silver, and I don't believe we saw a single marble come off the board, unless my eyes are deceiving me. I see all 5 still on for both teams, and yes, we're going to have a tie here. They're all going to line back up. That is incredible. The Killer Bees in the bottom right there are trying to knock off one of the Starlights to get that 1-point win, but we're going to go to a tie with all the dominoes completely untouched. That is very unusual. But how will this pan out now that they've already had a run to exhaust themselves? Down they come. Wait, I believe they've swapped sides as well. Starlights have lost 2. Killer Bees have only lost 1. Killer Bees are going to move on here. They will face whoever the finalist is in the final. Killer Bees are going to be only going on for a gold here, running from 16th place. That is a great story in of itself. But yes, of course, the Fireworks, they're going to be watching these next few rounds very intently, and Evergreen Oaks are the team to watch who are still in the game. If they can win the gold here, they'll still be into it. Solstice Squad, though, they can't win it, but they can perhaps try and knock out the Evergreen Oaks from contention here with a win. They're going to keep it close. They knock each other up in the Solstice Squad, and it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
Poor teamwork on the part of the Solstice Squad in the bottom right corner here. Slight collisions in the middle. The Solstice Squad going all over the place here. And the Evergreen Oaks, they're trying to arrest the momentum. One of their marbles could, but the other one could not. So we will re-rack the marbles here. The Evergreen Oaks, a 1-to-1 joust yet again here. Solstice Squad from the left and the Evergreen Oaks from the right here. A slight collision. Man. They will both go off, and we are going to reset everything here. The dominoes will stay down, but all 5 marbles from both teams will be set back in the starting blocks to go once again here for another overtime.
This is going to be carnage. Evergreen Oaks, if they advance, they're going to stay in contention. If they don't, they're gone. Solstice Squad have lost all their runners, barring 1. Evergreen Oaks have done the same thing. It's 1-to-1 again on the board, and we're going to re-rack for yet another joust. The Solstice Squad can't even win the tournament. They're just trying to throw Evergreen Oaks down with them at this point and leave it to just a Fireworks Ivy League 1-to-1 battle going into the final event. Here comes the joust again. The 3rd overtime for semi-final 2. Who will face Killer Bees in the final? It is going to be Evergreen Oaks. No, they're going to call back. They're falling off to the far side. It's going to be the Solstice Squad moving on to the final. And Evergreen Oaks not only gone down to the 3rd place round, they are out of contention. Solstice Squad will go on to face the Killer Bees for gold and keep up their hopes for a Marble Invites podium, but they're not going to be winning any titles. None of these teams are. We now have it confirmed. Fireworks and Ivy League are your final 2 championship contenders going into the final event.
Yeah, and now the Evergreen Oaks, they still would like to put themselves in a good position for the podium battle here, but they look to be almost blanked here in the 3rd place match against the Starlights. The Starlights dominant in this event up to this point, and the Evergreen Oaks, perhaps those 3 overtimes tire them out here. They are going to get just 4th place. No podium for the Evergreen Oaks. The Starlights sitting towards the bottom of the standings. A 2nd bronze medal of the season here, and a much needed morale boost for them heading into the final event. The Evergreen Oaks are still going to be in that podium battle, but the 3 extra points could be very costly come the end of the final event. But now, for the final, the Killer Bees and the Solstice Squad, off they go here. The Solstice Squad have 3 marbles on the board. Killer Bees have 1. None of those marbles are going to fall off, and it's a 3-1 victory for the Solstice Squad. Out of championship contention, but spirits still high here as they are positioning themselves up very well to take a podium spot heading into the final event. The Killer Bees were so close. They were doing so well for the entirety of the event up to this point, but they will still get their first podium of the season in the silver position. And congratulations to the Starlights, a second medal of the season for them as well. But it's the Solstice Squad positioning themselves very well heading into the final event.
You have to give them their flowers. I mean, they were out of contention from the moment the Ivy League advanced, but they did all they could to try and stay in contention, but just bad luck led them here. They're only running for a podium now, and there you see Ivy League and the Fireworks separated by just 14 points going into the final event. Our Fireworks will have to do some work and hope for a bit of luck. The Ivy League still have a stranglehold on the tournament, but it can all go away in just one long marathon track waiting for us at the Marble Cross coming to you next week. We'll see you for that one, and good luck to our 2 contenders.